So if there is any question about the topic of fear, they are very welcome. I want to remind everyone that there is a new class beginning of the online course of the ease of being. It is online course of 4 months that will start in the end of August. If anyone is interested into this, you can contact me or go into my website. There is different information about that. Yeah, so if there is any question about the topic of fear, any sharing, yeah, they are welcome.
Yeah, I have been dealing with that for most of my life. I had, starting at 6, I had these episodes of terror that were kind of like a real bad chemical trip. And I was, the way I look at it now, I was afraid of dying and afraid of losing my mind. And I was quite aware of that back then. They stopped when I was 15, but it still lingers, like, it still lives. And I kind of explored it over the years. I did a number of medicine journeys with MDMA with a facilitator. And the very first one, and I wanted this fear to come up. I really wanted to kind of see what it would be like as an adult to be with that now. This was years ago, though. And the first thing that happened was that fear. It just came right back. And I was paralyzed. I was absolutely paralyzed. I was holding on to my facilitator's arm, and I'm just like in a room with a bear, and there's no way out. So I had both feet in it. So my understanding is that you can't get to anything when you've got both feet in it. You kind of have to have one foot out to make some choices to allow it. I had no way. I don't think my facilitator knew what was happening. But my question would be how, I mean, that experience is incredibly intense. It's probably the worst experience of my life. And so yes, it's so deep to allow, just to allow it. And I can do that. I to the best that I can, but how can you nurture allowing to get deeper and deeper to it?
That's why I talk about the body a lot when I talk about fear. Because the way that you can do it, learn to be with sensation that feel comfortable, that feel peaceful. Because what happened when we feel fear or when we feel terror, the way that the system works, it disconnects completely the full range of emotion. And the way you feel emotion is through sensations. Otherwise, you are just into thoughts. So when there's a lot of emotion, your system as a survival mechanism kind of disconnect you from all of your emotions, and it just build an imaginary place, build of thoughts and imagination. And it start to tell you, if you live in my imaginary world of thoughts and my fantasy, you are safe. If you step out of it, you will feel fear. So basically, what it tells you is, if you stay in imagination and in my stories, you will live happy forever. If you step out, you will die. This is kind of the. But a part of you isn't happy because you are fragmenting yourself, so you feel not complete. So a part of you knows that it's an imagination. Just like when you watch a movie, a part of you know that's a movie, and another accept the drama. That's why you have emotion. So you have this ability to deny something and at the same time knowing that we are doing it, right? But this is a level deeper. The way we enter into this space of allowing is to be able to be with sensations that are gentle, that are peaceful, that relax, that are joyful, but not like a story, but in a somatic way. And that's where, because this mechanism is when is like you say, the fear is so strong that you take the habit to never feel emotion. And that's why at some point there is even this imagination that you feel emotions, but you don't really feel emotion. It happens sometimes. People say, I feel this. And you say, where do you feel it in the body? I don't know. Well, if you don't know where it is in the body, that is that you're not really feeling, you're not really aware of what's happening there. And a big part of the emotion is a sensation. The way out is to feel things, for example, when you are in a park and you feel that is beautiful. Oh, it's a beautiful moment. It's really amazing and it's nice. And you have all of this nice, life is beautiful and we have hope in humanity and you have all of these thoughts. That's fine, whatever is happening there. Where do you feel it in the body? What kind of texture uh, is happy? What kind of texture this beauty has in your body? And when I say in the body, what I'm really saying is feel the field of sensing. Because this is a big part that we disconnect ourselves from. And the way to enter is the easiest way is the way of pleasure and happiness. That's the easy way. So when sometimes people do shadow work and they hear that, they want to go straight into fear, but that's exactly what all of your life is built to avoid. So it's possible, but it's very, very challenging. Very some can, but most of us can't because it's too much. But if you go to the back door where it's gentle and easy, and you learn to be with sensation, the more you do this, the more you will be able to be with fear. Why? Because the capacity you have to be with happy sensation or comfortable sensations is the same sensitivity that you need to be with fear.
Mm.
So by being with happiness, with joy, and feeling it in your body, naturally you will have more capacity to feel the fear. And what
I see.
often is this fear is so much here, and it wants so much to just erupt like a volcano that anytime you feel some happiness, there is fear creeping in, right? Right?
Mm.
So it's a dance. It's a dance. Does it make sense?
Oh God, yes, yes, yes. I had a couple summers ago, I was attacked by um, yellow jackets, and they can keep stinging. They
Okay.
don't die, and they're so by the second hit, I got up, was just working in the garden, and I started running, and I got hit in the back, and I got hit again, so I got hit 4 times, and a funny thing happened. It it put me into a present state. Like I wasn't afraid at all. I was feeling totally the sensations that were starting to happen in detail. It was really fascinating. My feet were running, and I'm going in the house to get my keys to drive to the hospital because I wasn't sure what stung me. Because I might have I got a bee sting here and I had a reaction years ago. So I'm on my way to the emergency room, just just uh, seeing how interesting this all is. It was it was quite fascinating. It was so just so alert and aware and feeling fully the experience. And I'm not afraid of hornets anymore or bees. So there's that side of it. Yet I often feel the fear is it feels like a program. It's beyond me. I'm so there. I'm so, bring it on. But yeah, I need to be more gentle with it and more um, allowing and yeah, that was perfect. Just allowing in detail everything. Like you said, I mean, I've never really put two and two together. The other feelings and emotions need to be more expressed too, to get used to that. Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, this is a strange thing that I think now, because there is the boom of therapy and spirituality, and therefore there is this kind of belief that you need to heal, right? The shadow work and healing and trauma healing and this and that. But at some point, I mean, what we really want to allow is not fear. What we really want to allow is happiness. That's what we really want.
Mm,
But sometimes we become so much focused on resolving, which is the analytic mind that want to resolve, that it focus on the problem, and it completely forgets what was the goal of the whole enterprise of therapy. Just become so much focused and just enter into a rabbit hole, and it's endless.
mhm.
So gentleness and kindness, they are the best approach. Anytime you have anything happening, the best perspective is to really imagine a baby. Like, you are a baby, and this is a reaction of a baby that doesn't know anything. It's completely confused about what's happening. It's just like, what it needs is your presence, nothing else. No talk, no speech, no conversation, not trying to, you don't have to be afraid because the IBCD, no, it's just be with that no matter what, and stay present as much as you can, stay sensitive and be kind, and that's it. There's nothing else that you have to do, or you can do anyway. Beautiful. And you
Perfect.
see, there is a big difference between feeling fear, like you say, you feel the pain, you feel the alertness, you think there is running, and being in fear, which is very different. When you are
Yes.
when fear has you, you are stuck. You are paralyzed. When you feel the fear, you are very aware and you are very functional. You function very well because you are here completely.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's my guess. That's why some people are enjoy a lot dangerous sports or war,
Yeah.
because this bring you really into a place where thoughts are not really allowed. But it's really forced. Yeah. But at some point, it was very interesting. One time I was traveling, and I met an American soldier who was in holidays. So his work was going to war, and I was just talking to him. It was very interesting. Well, he was a very nice man, and I asked him what is that you like, I mean, in war. I mean, if you do this, it's because there is some impulse in you, right? That is calling you to keep doing it, I guess. I'm just wondering. And he said something that was very just blow my mind. I never thought about this. He said, when you are in a war zone and you are with your team, you become one to survive. You have to be one. You have to really be fully present, fully aware of what's happening, to communicate clearly. Yeah, you have to be in the zone,
Mhm.
but the zone is pure awareness, and the context doesn't matter,
Mm,
right? But the good news is we don't have to be in a survival situation to be in that state. I mean, to have this sensitivity. A very, very, very interesting situation. Like you know, like you, things happen and, you know, who knows how things will go, right? This is very interesting.
Mm.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I can talk, David.
Yeah.
First of all, what a great subject. Yeah. And it's very apt for me because a great fear came up last week on me. I think it's okay to talk about it. So for some reason, I've got a fear of being sent to prison, even though I'm not a criminal. And I think I was put in a situation last week on a retreat where someone asked me, I was abroad, and someone asked me to take a suitcase home, a friend of a friend. And then I immediately that evening went into a panic station, and the mind and the ego created this situation that something could have been in this suitcase, and I could get picked up at the airport and immediately sent to prison, etc. And it just spiraled completely out of control for 2 or 3 nights, to be honest. But I was in a loving, great group who I could discuss it with. And part of the healing for that day was actually sitting with the sensation, sitting with the feeling, which dissipated it. It took a while because it's quite an intense feeling. There was something in the background that knew that if I sat with the feeling, that it would dissipate and I would be on the other side, and it was quite intense. However, what I want to probably talk about is that even though I sat with the feelings and the mind created all these stories, which I know is false, so we don't have to go to. I've still got the underlying fear, and I've still got the underlying belief. So I just wonder what your thoughts about, sitting with that sensation and letting it dissipate at that moment in time, but going after the underlying beliefs about this, and having some ideas about how to act in that scenario. Because I really, in this case, I'm not a criminal, so I've no intention of going to prison and stuff like that. But still, I think I've watched so many programs on TV about losing control and getting into a prison and all this type of stuff. It's the stuff of nightmares, really. And I think my ego and my mind took that on board and created this fear. And when it was discussed in this group, it's probably something that potentially either this or something could hold you back as well. You might put in little controls to not put yourself in a certain situation because of a fear. So really a bit of a discussion, not just on this or generally, about how we get to the underlying beliefs of fear.
Yeah, very, very interesting. The best approach now where I am is this whole world is built on fear. All of it. All of it. So as long as there is a physical world out there, and there is bodies in it, insects and animals and beings of any kind and doing things, there'll be some level of fear. But my approach is not really to aim kind of having no fear. My aim is understanding what to do when these appear in me, and stop trying to control about how to not making it happening. Because if you build walls around your house to feel safe, you are trying to control the environment to not feel fear, right? And if you go into spirituality and you meditate 2 hours every morning, try to get rid of fear, you are doing exactly the same. It's just the form is different, but the content, the intention is really the same. The sensitivity from where I am, it is really about kindness and tenderness and clarity of what is, how is reality unfolding. As long as there is a human, like a functional brain in a functional body, there will be some level of fear, because that's the biomechanical functioning of a body, right? So I'm not holding the imagination that is possible to be inside, to have the experience of a body without the fear. I think the experience of the body is an experience of fear because, right, at some point. So there is some expansion and some contraction, and there is sometimes very huge expansion, and things happen, and there is no fear, and things happen, it's fine. But most of the time, we live in a more contracted situation. And that's why to be kind and to be tender and to be gentle is, from my perspective, the best approach. I'm saying this why? Because you say in the sense that there is always sensation happening. Sensing is constantly happening. And if sensing is happening, there will happen in a spectrum. There has to have an experience. You must have a polarity. You must have a spectrum between two things where experience unfold. Yeah. So with sensation, there will always be some kind of expansion. Everything is fine. I'm perfect. I'm the universe, and there will be a contraction. I'm a person. That's not happening. What will I do? How? And the thing is, this spectrum, when we at the beginning, we feel trapped, right? We feel kind of maybe trapped in one part of the spectrum, and then we get bigger, and we can navigate in a lot more easily. And if anything that happens is easy to be with. Yeah. So this is the paradox nature of what's happening. The more sensitivity you have, the more easy it's to be with a lot of what's happening, right? You said that there was an event and you felt a lot of fear, but my guess it's for a long time you didn't felt much. I mean, you felt probably more easily, peaceful, and then there's one event and you feel the other polarity, and suddenly what's happening? And yeah, okay, that's normal. Yeah, normal. That's just the human experience, and there is the other polarity. But somehow you find your way through it, and now, yeah. So when your sensitivity grow, you are able to be with more. Where is the paradox? The paradox is the more sensitive you are, the more you can zoom in. Right? So when a little something that maybe 10 years ago you wouldn't feel at all, now it's huge. And that's the paradox of sensitivity. I'm able to be with more, but because I'm more sensitive, when something happens, I feel it way more intense.
Mm.
And that's kind of the dance.
I just wondered what your thoughts are on because I do a lot of like direct pointing of purposely getting triggered so you desensitize yourself, or you learn to live with uncomfortable emotions, to sit with them, rather than, I know life itself gives you them triggers anyway, but there's a certain set of thinking that people go out and purposely get triggered to try and work through that. I just wondered what your thoughts on that.
You know, if my thought is we are running away from peace. We are running away from it. And sometimes we are not even noticing the way we are distracting ourselves, not from fear, really, but from peace. And at some point, we want fear because peace is even more, some strangely, peace, to feel at peace, it's even more fearful than to be in a life or death situation. Because peace, I mean, lasting peace and happiness, I mean, what you are, is the dissolution of your identity as an individual. So from the perspective of, of the finite mind of the person, I prefer to put myself in situation to heal and to continue this endless healing, seeing, perceiving, cleaning, and this and that, than to simply really allow myself to be happy with what is right here, right now, no matter what. We often talk that the shadow work, we have to do kind of therapy work because there is a defense mechanism that's one way of saying it, that the sense of I, it's a defense mechanism against fear and intense emotion, right? About anger, anxiety. But that's half the truth. The fact is, the I, the sense of identity, is a defense against peace. It's a defense against what you really are. And that's what we are running away. We are running away from our true identity. If you are in the luxury to believe that you're in control of your life, and your life is so peaceful that you want to put yourself in difficult situation, well, go ahead. I mean, your life, you can do whatever you want. You can mess it up as much as you want. Feel free, you know. I've no judgment about good or bad. I don't know.
It just, my question relates to, because when you sit in a sitting being or a sitting, and I do get intense episodes of peace. However, when I go out into, you know, the wider world and public, that's where the triggers essentially happen. And I want to try and work the way through the triggers so that when I go out in public, I'm just wondering whether there's some avoidance there. Are you with me? Just sitting, resting in. You want to be in that peaceful situation everywhere, in every situation. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's only when, for example, this retreat that went on last week really exposed the fact that in certain, you know, pressure cooker situations, the illusion, the ego is still, you know, it's relatively easy for me to see that the ego is, you know, I'm not this character. However, when it's put into a pressure cooker situation, as it were, it's clear that the full illusion hasn't dropped. You know, the ego is still quite pervasive. Really.
Mhm.
Quite a lot of virtually every decision you make, you know, the ego can be there. You know, it's only when in intense situations, you know, it appears that the mind starts, what I would say, going, you know, relating. So I've just thought about desensitizing, not too much, not purposely, for example, getting sent to prison, but you know, rather than, you know, just sitting at home and just being in peace and all the time. Are you with me? That it's just having
Yeah.
that's what I'm thinking about.
Mhm. Yeah, well, I think life naturally puts you in uncomfortable situation. I don't believe that you have to force yourself in uncomfortable situation. And even if you are in a comfortable environment, don't worry, the body will start to to decompose, and then you will have inner situation that will never leave you. So you don't have to worry about uncomfortable situation, pain, and all of this. It will come if you need to. My advice is really, like I said to Mark, learn learn to feel, and I have to do it too. You know, like peace. How does peace feel in 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 the field of sensing, in the field of thinking, and the field of perceiving, right? Because those are the three fields where peace can express itself. And thought are not an enemy. Thought are very neutral. That's why when you are in love or in a beautiful garden and everything is beautiful with your friend and your family, you have nice thoughts, right? Oh, family is great, and but then you're in another situation where you are in conflict with your family and nothing is working and money because something and family is horrible and that is stuck there and this and that. But so really the dimension of sensing, perceiving, and thinking, they are a reflection of your own understanding. That's it. So at this point, there is two layers. There is first one. There is the first layer that is it doesn't matter. It's true. It doesn't matter if you are if you are miserable, if you have a terrible body, if you live in pain, and it really doesn't matter. You are what you are, and you have nothing. You don't have to do something about this. That's true. The other that is also a possibility, like it's possible to engage with your experience more and more intelligently and with clarity, and over time it start to is your experience start to reflect your own understanding in the best way that is possible, obviously, because all of humans are expression have limitations, or even beings. Ants will express awareness as much as you do, but the expression are different. No, so it's not like same like you, Paul, Mark, Doris, Sarah, Ray, Tammy, Ramis, Dennis, all of us. We express our awareness in the maximum of our ability constantly, and those are kind of the two layers where we kind of navigate. Sometimes you just dive in deep in with your being and you just drop everything. And other time you feel the impulse more to, maybe I will clean my house. It's true that I'm not a body. It's true that there is no house. It's true there is nothing. But I think that if I clean my house, I will just enjoy it. And the impulse emerge and you do it, right? And so those two layers are not contradictory. They are simply when you understand properly, they are simply different way to approach your experience. But the most important is to remember the way that your experience appear does not reflect the quality of what you are or the quality of your understanding or any of those. does it make sense? I'm not sure I have.
Yeah, it does. It
Uh,
does actually. Yeah, actually. So it's actually getting more sensitive to the actual senses, the perception. So
yeah.
I'm really, really feeling into that. And I think what the message I'm getting, David, is because in the past when I've rested in being, uh, I've been a bit eddy. I've been a bit, floated. I wouldn't have said disassociated, but very eddy up here. Really. I think what I'm learning over the last few months is get more into the body and feeling, really sensing the immediate now, really. And like you said, it was a great idea to, work on the positive emotion as well as the work on every emotion, work on everything. We should be there because in the past, just resting back in awareness has felt a bit up here. Right. So,
Well, it's not really exploring emotion, it's exploring sensing. Because you will see attention in the belly is not fear. If you are in love, if you see someone on the street and you fall in love and you want to go talk to this person, maybe there is some tension in your body, but your system will interpret it as excitement. Like, oh, what will happen? That's great. It's right. So when you are with tension in the stomach without story, it can be a full anxiety or fear of death, or it can be I'm going to meet the love of my life tomorrow. It's really the same kind of thing. It's to be neutral because sensation are neutral. And tactily, they are neutral. But they are infinite in their exploration.
thank you.
Yeah.
David, can I ask on that?
Yes.
Thanks. I really enjoyed what you said today about a few things, about also going into the positive emotions. It had never occurred to me. I thought just to go in the negative ones. And also about being gentle and kind. I really, 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 really needed that message today because I've been trying to obsess my way into it or prove that I'm into it. You know what I mean? Like really thinking that I need to be very, very harsh and disciplined and push myself very much to show loyalty to this work or to make it work. I guess my two questions would be, when you say be gentle and kind, and when you say also explore the positive emotions and stuff and become more sensitive, does this stuff have anything to do also with eventually awakening? Because you said something about if we're a person, then it more makes sense, this perspective, to be gentle and kind and to also look at happiness and stuff. In other words, is it kind of like, well, most people don't awaken, and so the skillful approach would be to just, okay, you haven't awakened, you may never, so just be gentle and kind? Or is this also an approach that can lead toward awakening or realization or whatever you want to call it? And also, I guess for me, I went at it pretty intensively for a few weeks, attended all kinds of meetings and tried to drop into tons of really difficult emotions and was dropping in and just going into all these states. I felt drugged and exhausted, and it was really, really intense. And then it was okay, that's it, done. No, I don't want to go anywhere. I'm just, so I'm oh, this seems exhausting to go into everything. It just seems like such a chore now. From now on, I can't just stay surface level. I have to dive in deeply. And I don't know if I have ADD or something. I find it very hard sometimes to like focus or collect my thoughts or drop in. Somehow there are times when it really happens, but a lot of times it's not simple for me to drop in and it seems like a chore. So I guess those would be my two questions about if this stuff is on the path or just a kind way to treat ourselves as most likely people won't reach realization, and so this is a better approach to life, or is it also on the path? And also, what do I do about it feeling like a chore?
Everything has to do about awakening,
Mm,
because this is the only game in town. There is nothing else here. And even if being do not realize that this is the game, this is the only game. And the game of awakening is the game of being at peace with the world, being in love with yourself, and being happy with others. This is awakening, really. And if this is not awakening, who cares? What is that? If it doesn't
mm,
provide those things, who cares, you know? So
mhm,
at the end, this is what we all being long for: harmony, love, peace, all of those things. And this is the game we play here, all of us. And some people play it in a different way, from a different understanding, and some others play it from a different sensitivity. So to answer your question, you cannot be outside your path, because the path is the one that you are in. Yeah,
I guess I feel like,
really, there is no outside of it.
mhm. I guess I feel like a lot of the ways of pursuit of things might be a waste of time or leading me to a wrong understanding or just getting myself stuck in some kind of thought loop or weird bubble or wrong understanding or sensations. In other words, that it could just be a long waste of time rather than bringing me closer to true
Ah,
lasting peace. You know what I mean?
exactly. But you see, now the question is completely different. Is how can I gain time? And that's the game, because you are already what you are. So really there's nothing you have to do or not to do. You are already home. The difficulty now is you don't believe it, and nobody who is in a body believes it completely. Otherwise, there wouldn't be a body. If there is a body, there is this belief at some level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So now it's how long will it take you to remember it? How long will it take, specifically for any of us to remember, and how it will happen? That's very, very specific. It can be doing classes, it can be spontaneous, it can be being spiked by yellow jackets, it can be falling down from rocks, it can be drugs, it can be who knows, everything. Cancer, money, no money, pain, pleasure. There's no rules, and it's beautiful. So I think that you start to realize what is really the game. It's not really what you do, what you think, but what is a thought, what is happening. It's very different.
So now I'm a little confused. Wait, so you're saying, in other words, so you're saying that there's no way to actually know how we'll be awakened, but you're saying questioning might be a better way than other ways? Questioning what is thought and what is sensation?
I'm not using the word awakening, because when we use the word like awakening and enlightenment, there is almost instantaneously there is imagination that just get triggered, and you start to pursue an imagination. What is awakening for you?
What do I understand it to be?
I mean, you seem to seek awaken, to become awakened. You
Mm-hmm.
seem to seek something that you call awakening. So what are you seeking?
What I'm seeking is, like you said, to be free of suffering. But from my understanding in these circles, the only way to really be free of fear and suffering is to have some shift in understanding of shift in identity, shift in understanding what I am and what I'm not, and seeing this person, this body, this mind, these thoughts, this voice that is vibrating now as somehow part of some whole, and somehow I am everything and not just this specific body, some kind of understanding having to do with this. And that is the way to achieve lasting peace, which is what I am seeking.
I think it's clearer to say I want lasting peace and happiness than awakening, because awakening really, can mean anything, and so now you see, the question is not how to get it, but what is it that is here that is blocking my view in a way.
Okay.
And that's why you say I want suffering to stop. The difference in the message of non-duality, it's we start from the end. We say peace is what you are and is already here. This is the the first sentence. You are perfect and everything is fine. That's the kind of the starting point. And then they say there is to this comment there is a rejection, but I'm suffering. And so then what you want is to get to see suffering for what it is, and to dissolve it. And when it dissolves, you recognize the peace that was here.
Mm-hmm.
Not as something that you have to produce. Peace is not something that you have to produce yourself. Peace is something that you recognize. That's why it's called awakening. You awaken to what you are. Awakening is not something that you have to do. It's or enlightenment, right? It's something that you see. It's the light on what is here.
So the assumption is I'm already experiencing peace. There's just other things, thoughts, and sensations that are blocking me from seeing it because I'm looking at those instead of at the peace.
That's a better approach.
Mm-hmm.
Even if the experience is not really a block. It's an expression of what you are. Just like TV. Right now, if you watch a TV screen and there is a banana appearing on the TV screen, yeah, and I'm telling you, you are watching a TV screen, and your answer is no, I'm watching a banana. I'm telling you, no, you are watching a TV screen. And you're telling me, no, but I'm watching a banana. I'm telling you, I understand that you are seeing a banana. I understand that I'm seeing a banana. What I'm telling you is the banana is an expression of the TV screen, but there is no banana. The banana is the screen itself. So the banana is not a block to perceive the TV screen. In fact, the banana is an expression of the TV screen. The confusion is you don't recognize the TV screen for what it is, and you believe that the banana is something independent. It's an object independent from the TV screen that is blocking you the view of the TV screen. So you are manufacturing an object out of a TV screen, and you believe that this object is blocking you the view, all the while the very banana that you are perceiving is the TV screen.
Is the banana sensation or the body?
Exactly. But the banana is sensing, perceiving, and thinking, experiencing is the banana. The experience is an expression of your presence. They are both one and the same. So experience is not blocking you, the view. Experience is the very proof that you are awareness.
So if I explore the banana, I will notice that it's just a screen, or will I just get
Exactly.
lost in the banana and keep on peeling this banana in my brain? Like,
Yeah, but that's the point. That's exactly it. When you explore the banana, you realize there is no banana. And even if you get lost and you start to peel the banana, there is no more banana. It's just more of the same. So the realization is always available to you, no matter what. So
right,
now, tell me. No, it's-
but is exploring the banana a way to see the screen, or will I just my mind will get lost on like stuck on exploring the banana and never notice that it's a screen? Or once I knock on it and bang on it enough, I'll realize it doesn't exist, it's only screen. You know what I mean? Like if I just stare at the banana all day, I might never see that there's a screen.
This is the process of realization, and this is what I propose to explore in my online course and the course I'm offering. It is this approach to explore, because you have to explore two things. At the beginning, you believe that you're exploring a banana. At some point, you understand, oh, I'm exploring the quality of a TV screen. Just like right now, you're not exploring a physical world or a physical body or a mind made out of brain. No, you are exploring your own experience, and this experience is appearing in your awareness. So you are exploring yourself, no matter what is happening, because there is nothing else but yourself shining forth right now. And that's the only game in town. That's why that's the only channel. The only channel, it's your awareness.
Right. And you're saying that if I'm watching the drama that's happening on the TV and I'm getting sensitive to it, that I will eventually not get lost in it, but rather like increasing sensitivity and dipping into the experience of this, whatever drama is playing on the screen, because I can't control that it keeps playing, right? Eventually you think instead of just watching soap operas all day, eventually I'll realize that there's a screen by getting more sensitive and more into the content, more in the sensation.
Yeah, that's one step, and that's one door. One step back is sensing, is one step, because the first layer, that's why I start always to explore thoughts, because that's the first layer where we get caught up, get lost. And the way to step out of it, the easy way is to go into sensing. And then when you go into sensing, you have to go deeper into perception, and then you have to go deeper and deeper. But with this image that we talk about, the banana is like, now they do those screens that are so real that I mean, not so real, but they make an image that is so impressive that we confuse it from a real object. We can spend infinity to talk about a banana that's on the screen, if it is real or not. But if you go near of it and you touch it, you will know it directly if it is a banana or not.
Right.
That's why sensing is more direct than thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Even if solidity has to be dissolved, also have to be explored because there's no solidity either. But that's when you go deeper and deeper.
Mm-hmm. So we're diving into sensation in order to eventually feel that, to see that it's what it's made of, and that it's really
Exactly.
something else.
But it's you can ask yourself constantly, what is made of? What is this thought made of? And you will see when you really start to see what is the nature of thought, you will start to lose interest into it very fast.
Mhm.
So I wonder if I answered both of the questions. There's one question about awakening and the other, I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, the other one was I was starting to feel like it was a daunting task to keep on, exploring every sensation and every thought. It seems like a huge mountain, like it seems like a lot, as if I have to like explore every banana that appears, whether it's a thought, a sensation, you know what I mean? Like it seems like, oh my God, I'm gonna be peeling bananas forever, like knocking on the bananas forever, but just seems like a big task, like impossible, and I feel like exhausted before I start, but
Ah, but
I
because you are at some point it become natural.
mm-hmm,
If you enter into a library and there is thousands and thousands of books, do you need to open all of them to be sure that there are letters in it and there are stories about whatever? Do you need
mm-hmm,
to open all of them, or you just now you just know there's are books, there are words in it, and they speak about stories or many kinds. But who cares? There are paper and ink. You don't need to open every book. You just know.
mm-hmm. So when we start exploring sensation and thought, it just we don't have to explore every single one. We start to understand their nature, and then it just
Exactly.
deepens. Mm-hmm.
Like the politician and the news on TV. You know that if you open them, they will propose you fear. You don't need to watch all of the news of all of the world, all of the language, and all of the. You just know this is what they propose. You know it. You don't need to turn it on every 5. Maybe they change. Maybe they change. You know this channel is fear. Well, the channel of the mind is fear and confusion. You know it, but you are addicted to it. We all are. That's why we love it. We just keep turning on. Now, what's the new drama? Well, here it is, available to you. But really, more and more you lose interest into the drama of David, into the drama of Tammy, into the drama of whatever, because it's really often is really boring. It's really always the same, right? This person will make me happy. Oh no, it didn't. This person will make me happy. Oh no, it didn't.
Yeah.
This activity will be my
Yeah.
will bring me happiness. Oh no, it stopped bringing me happiness. Oh no, this activity will bring me happiness. Oh no, it stopped bringing me happiness. If I do this, my body will be healthy. Oh no, it's not healthy. If I do this, my body will be healthy. Oh no, it's not healthy. It just it's the same. This is the life of this is the human channel, and it's not very interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true. That is happening to me more and more. I still have a lot of capacity to, push through and get myself enthusiastic again and try again. But at some point, it's like, yeah, you start to see it more and more. It's very true. Um, and so you're saying a way to see more through it is to explore how it feels and what these things are made of. I'm not exactly sure what it means, what thought is made of, but I'll try.
Try and keep exploring, because you will see the qualities of what you are way more seductive than the stories that thoughts are producing. At the beginning, you may feel that you are losing something, but in fact, you are gaining everything.
If I can ask a personal question, do you live in that? Do you live in the peace, or are you still chasing the soap operas?
Both of them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I am aware that I know what I am and I know what reality is. And there's a part of me who is denying it. That's why I say more, if there is a functional body and a functional brain, there will be an experience of individuality.
Mm-hmm.
But just to be clear, the body and the brain is not producing the sense of individuality. Awareness is producing the sense of individuality. And to produce a sense of individuality, you need a body and a mind to do it. So there's a part in awareness that is holding this pattern in place that I call David.
For as long as the person is alive.
As long as the awareness wanted to be there.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same for you. That's why David have no control of, on anything, but the awareness that is producing everything is. And this is the divine, or whatever word you want to use.
Meaning when it wants me to have the understanding, I'll have understanding.
No, meaning Tammy will never understand anything, because it's not, Tammy will never have it. You lose the belief that Tammy will have the belief. You see that Tammy is the confusion, is the limited perspective.
Mm-hmm.
That's I use this image of the dream. It can be very useful. When you dream, you need space and time to have a dream. So you localize mind, manufacture a space-like dimension with time and space, right? And then it not only needs an object, but it needs a subject to perceive it. So it manufactures bodies and entities in it. And then you get identified to a specific entity in the dream, and it seems that this entity is having interaction, relationship, and it seems that this entity is having the impact of the dream, right? But the one who is really producing the dream and living the impact of the dream is the awareness that it is the mind that is producing the dream. So it is in your sleep, you're having a individual dream. When you are awake, this is a kind of, it's a way of speaking, this is a collective dream. Not that there is many different beings, but it is the one being that is dreaming all of us and dreaming everything and is holding everything together.
Mm-hmm. So it's not that if I explore sensation and thoughts, I'll realize there's nothing to be afraid of. It's that I'll have a shift in identity in which there'll be no more fear.
Instead of wondering what will happen,
Just do
I
it.
invite you to explore it
Right.
and see what happens.
Okay. It's just a bit hard for me sometimes to focus or do it on my own, but like to really, I don't know, but I'll try. You know what I mean? Just like it's just can be hard
Yeah,
for me to focus and really drop in, but
Tommy,
know,
you could
that's-
actually, can I suggest something? Because I also am atypical and you for sure have neurodivergence. You have like probably some ADHD, which is which is fine, but I'm just saying you might need to make it a little bit more fun. And like what I would do at the beginning was just use my mind to actually help me get into the sensation, and use like an imagination of somebody there with me and play with that. And somehow it got me very, very deeply into my body. So I don't know if this is helpful or not, but it might be. So anyway, just thought to bring that up.
Thanks.
I know it's hard because of habit. And that's why I'm holding those meetings. And that's why I've built a whole process, a whole course to support this ongoing unfoldment and to perceive it from different aspects.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I will try. And in the course, do you explore it in the course, or you just give homework to explore?
Homework. No, what we do in the course is like we explore the different layers of experience. And we start with thoughts. What is the nature of thoughts? Which is control, identity, miss identity and time. Then we go deeper and we explore emotion, how emotions are unfolding. And then we explore sensation, because emotion is when the field of thought is overlapping with sensation. When both of those fields overlap, that's where emotions arise. And then after we explore sensations and we explore perceptions deeper. And because we meet every week and there is material and videos and explanation and direct application, like homework if you want, like how to apply in your day-to-day life, it is very supportive. Because one thing that I notice is like a lot of people are doing retreats, that's fine, and they leave things, that's great. But when you do a retreat, you kind of step out of your natural way of life and you leave things, but then you come back into it. And when you come back in your home, with your habit, in your work, all of the habits kind of come back almost instantaneously because they are not integrated in your day-to-day life. And that's why the beauty of this process is that we meet every week and there's a lot of things to explore, but you have the possibility to do it in your day-to-day life, where you are, without changing anything in the way that your life is unfolding. And this will allow this understanding to be integrated in your life more and more concretely.
Mm-hmm. But is the exploration done together or as the whole, like alone in the life?
If you are interested into this, you can send me an email and we can
Mhm.
have a meeting and I can explain you everything if in more details. I
Mhm.
think it would be a better place to do that if you're
Okay.
interested. There is information on my website, and you can book there, or you can send me an email, and I can make time to talk about it if you're interested.
Mhm.
Yeah, you know, it sometimes is easier to do it with other people. I just didn't have anybody to do it with, and I had to find my own way, because I was going through like excruciating pain, which felt very, very physical actually, and had the same thing with not knowing if it's psychological or physical, you know, all of that. And you know, I very much relate to a lot of what you're saying. I definitely have. I'm also autistic. I have autism and ADHD, and yeah, so I had to figure out how to navigate that. And anyway, I saw that my system really needed to feel somebody's presence, and it specifically needed a male presence, and it needed to feel loved and taken in and sort of like really brought in with everything that I was feeling. So I really concocted this whole thing. Like I just basically came up with like just sort of used all of my power of imagination. And this is not, I mean, sorry if this is like not against, but this is a little bit not in sync with what David is saying, but it just worked for me to bring me into, it was like a transition sort of thing. And because it went on for a very long time. I had like 2.5 years of like feeling like this stabbing in my heart, which wouldn't stop. And I just needed something to soothe the pain. So I had to use words too, the words that I wanted to hear, the feeling of the sense of that person that I wanted to be there for me, how he was sitting with me, how he was engaging with me, like all of that. And I had to do it over and over again. And it would almost like a magnet, like pull up the pain in my system. And I would cry and cry and cry. And this wouldn't stop. It went on for a very, very long time until I noticed one day it sort of got absorbed into me, like that whole, like I just felt like I was done. And I understood that that whole belief system of being unloved, like some of that had gotten resolved or it was healed in some way. So so I don't know, this is just a creative way of that I came up with, and it seemed to work for me. So I'm just and I didn't know that it worked right away, but it just it really brought something to deeply settle. Like there was something about it that brought a lot of that same love that I was looking for on the outside seemed to, I was sort of presenting something as if it's external, but then it ended up being me. So I was the one who could supply the love, and the love was me. And that's how it ended up being, yeah.
That sounds like a very intense and cool thing. And that it resolved is really beautiful.
Yeah, and I didn't know how much sadness and pain there was there. I mean, it seemed like it wasn't ending. It was day in, day out. And I mean, for 2.5 years, like I just, the pain, I just couldn't get away from it. My heart was hurting so much all the time. And I just needed to soothe it over and over and over again. And I didn't know that it would go anywhere. Like I really didn't know that it would have an end. So, and now like the same things, that whole dream that I had also collapsed. Like to be looking for that in another person, all of that, like, and then that was my entire goal, my whole life. That's what I was driven by, like finding that kind of love with a person, like having a person love me in that way. So so anyway, it turned out well. So yeah, I just and so sometimes I feel like words do help, like you could use it to sort of to get deeper into the feelings and to envision. And so I use that as a tool to help me go into the sensation,
Thank you.
Okay, thank you everyone for your presence. And I hope to see you next week. Bye-bye.